Hello, boys and girls, lads and lassies. I'm on my own at the moment. You guys are all busy tonight. So tonight we are going to look at evolution. Evolution with David Duchovny, Orlando Jones, Julianne Moore, Seann William Scott, and Ted Levine. It's also got Dan Aykroyd. This is one of my, I wouldn't say guilty pleasures because it's just such a great movie. I just love it. It's just so much fun. The whole thing is ridiculous, but it's ridiculously funny. And Duchovny and Jones have just got a great chemistry together, so it sort of works. And because of that, it's just one of those movies. It's a feel good movie. You just feel yourself smiling, even when the silliness happens in it. With Seann William Scott, I love some of the movies he's in, and this one he works quite well. And we've got Jim joining us. Hello.
Afternoon. I'm really sorry. I'm stuck at work. I
Don't
still
you worry about it.
contribute.
Don't you worry about it. I believe it or not, I can talk to myself. I've been doing it for years.
Oh, I always talk to myself because I need expert advice.
Yeah, because nobody's stupid enough to listen to me. Yeah.
Well, that's another T-shirt I have. I always learn from the mistakes of people that take my advice.
Yep. It's definitely the way to go.
And I would say this film definitely falls under that category.
Yes. I just love it. It's just one of those movies. I watched it about 3 weeks ago, and I watched it again today. It's just, I think I probably watch it every couple of months because I just enjoy it so much. Even the silly bits like the singing and the bug scene.
Well, I'm going to have to admit that I have a higher standard than that, but I don't think it's a higher standard per se because this film has Julianne Moore, and
Yes.
she's been a crush of mine for the last 20 years or something.
Well, also in this, she just plays a klutz, which is fun to watch because any type of movie she's been in before, and I think she took this and she played the klutz, and she wanted to play the klutz because she didn't want her character to be too serious. So, like walking into doors and tripping over herself, I think that was all her.
Yeah, I think that is what elevates this. Let's face it, it's overall an absolutely nonsense script. This should really not have been made a film.
Exactly, because you imagine that, right? This meteor comes and there's aliens, and they basically evolve overnight. They go from literally slime to flying dragons in a matter of days. And in the process, there's apes as well, and then they want to explode it, and then it turns into a big single cell organ, so it reverts back, and then they have to use Head and Shoulders. And you're sitting there thinking, really? Is that the story? Yes.
Yeah.
It's the story, and they basically, it's just so much fun. And
they go, this was definitely made tongue in cheek.
Yeah, and what we're going to do to make it even funnier, we're going to have David Duchovny. You mean the guy for the X-Files? And we're going to have Julianne Moore. Oh, so it's going to be a bit more serious, a love story. Well, it's a bit of a love story, but she's going to be funny as well. She's going to be klutz and clumsy and really, yeah, okay. So it's not going to be very popular then. It's going to be hilariously popular. And I think
overall this film was a complete gamble, but I agree with you. Julianne Moore was given the absolute best of the best. She got most material to play with.
Yes.
She got most of the scripts, most of the dialogue, not unfairly, It's just that I can see the editing at the end of the line, and it is whatever she delivered was the really funny thing. You're just sitting there laughing every single time she's coming on the screen, because even when she tries to play professional, it's like, oh yes, I'm a serious doctor. And she goes up and she shakes Dan Aykroyd's hand and saying, oh yes, I'm this doctor, blah blah, I have to do this. You just go, this is not meant to be taken seriously whatsoever.
Yeah, definitely not. It's not. But you look at the other stuff she's been in. She's been in Jurassic Park. It's like, fair enough, that wasn't a highbrow movie, but it was very well done as well. But she played it very serious.
Yeah, well, it's the same with The Big Lebowski.
Yes, that was a comedy. She didn't play it. She didn't. Her character in it was fairly straight. I know Big Lebowski wasn't a laugh out loud type comedy. It was a clever humour because it was, I suppose, subverted your expectations, because with John Goodman and that in it, you're expecting it to be like an Uncle, no, an Uncle Buck, because he did Roseanne and all. You expect that type of humour level in it, but it's a clever.
But even his character is dark.
Yes,
he is like a gun wielding
survivalist.
Yeah, survivalist. I was gonna say nutcase, but it wouldn't have been fair to people that are nutcase, because he's just like, yeah, I can go out into the wilderness and survive for 6 months.
Yeah,
that's the kind of level he is at.
Yeah,
but
and he's very. See, I like John Goodman as well, so I did. But you look at this movie, the way it starts. When I first saw it, I was sitting there thinking, the meteorite sort of exploded. Is it a missile? Is it deliberate? And then I realised it's just obviously they had to show it, instead of it bouncing off the atmosphere, it broke up. But the way they did it breaking up, it was almost like it exploded, but it wasn't. It was just the way they did the animation of it breaking up as it's entering the atmosphere. It just, I mean, so when I first saw it, I thought, is this going to be like an Alien type movie? But a different way. Instead of the alien going down and taking over, it was basically, they were
well, it's part and parcel of what the film title is. It's evolution.
Yes,
but I believe there is a 3 in there to replace like 1E or everything. But it still has that kind of concept. But okay, it's a pet peeve. A meteor lands on Earth, and it starts evolving materials and everything. And some reason, and yes, although humans consider themselves to be top of the food chain, these ones go straight from, oh, humans are food.
Yes,
there is no like, oh, we're evolving a bit. They just go straight, humans are food.
Which, to an extent, they basically eat anything, because you see them eating everything. Everything's feeding on everything else. They said that right at the beginning. So there's all the bugs, and then the bigger bugs eat, then the plants eat the bugs, and the bigger monsters eat this, and this one eats that. And it's literally everything's feeding on everything. So whenever there's a food source, they'll try it. So you get that from the beginning, even before they actually go out into the air.
Yeah.
And so basically they did set that up. So that part, it was, I didn't feel it was like a lot of the other ones, like Tomorrow War. It's got a very similar premise, but it was basically
I'd go lower than that, and I don't mean lower in terms of quality. I mean lower in terms of years. This film for me has so many connections to Tremors.
To an extent, but Tremors, it's you don't know because they put all the things out. You're not meant to know if these are prehistoric creatures that just popped up or if they're from outer space or whatever, because you learn throughout the series of the movie and the TV show that they could have been fossilized for years, but it's the hot water brought them back up, so they went into a hibernation, and it could have been hundreds of years. It could have been.
But you're talking the expanded stuff. I'm just talking literally the Kevin Bacon.
But the
first
Kevin Bacon
one
movie, they don't know, so they're saying it could be prehistoric, it could be from outer space, it could be from here. They basically gave all the ideas that they wanted to put forward for a backstory, but they were told no, just have it. The monsters are there. So that's why there's that scene where they're all talking about where did they come from, and it's people they're all that they wanted to have as a backstory. But the executive kept saying, "No, we don't want a backstory. Just have the monsters there, and you're defeating the monsters. Don't worry about a backstory. You don't care if they come from space because that would be too cliche. They don't want them to be prehistoric monsters because then you have to explain why, and just have the monsters there, and you don't know." Simple as that, you don't know. And that's why there was that scene with them explain thing. So Tremors, the only reason I'm saying it's different from Tremors is because in Tremors, the first movie, you only have the graboid. That is it. So you don't see them changing to the.
When they start flying and everything. This is where I think evolution goes the different way. But I think if you look at evolution, just the first flash you get, it is the same brevity, the same humor. It's the lightheartedness.
The humor, yes, but I'm saying is it's. I thought it was going to be the very first time I saw it. I thought it was going to be very tropish because that's what I'm saying. Like the Tomorrow War, it's the White Spikes, a similar idea, but obviously there's other movies before this about aliens landing. So you had things like Critters, you had other ones where an alien lands and then they start spreading out, and it's only because a plucky band of heroes managed to fight them off and stuff like that. And the plucky band of heroes is two science teachers and a cadet fireman who keeps on failing, and two dropout school students who can't even get an A.
That's Sean Williams, and that's where I kind of discovered him.
Yes,
as he's quite funny.
I like
He's
him
coming from American Pie, and he did this one. He did Goons.
Well, I saw this before I saw the American Pies, so I did.
Yeah.
So I saw
but Stifler for me, the guy that plays Stifler in American Pie, he's actually funny. Yes, in American Pie, he's a little bit over the top, but it is the material he has to work with. So I will forgive that, but he's still funny. He has the presence being there.
Yes, I'm not denying that.
Most comedy
I saw this one first before American Pie, so I really liked him before I saw him as Stifler.
Yeah, but most comedy is you take more fun out of yourself than anything else.
Yeah.
I was just laughing through that scene.
But do you know other movie I've seen him in, which I really, really like? It's the one with The Rock, and it's got that Ewan, the Irish guy. Remember he was in. Oh, what was the movie he was in? We did a review of recently. Oh, he was in Snatch. Ewan Bullman, is it? He played an Irish pilot, and it was The Rock. It was Welcome to the Jungle. Have you seen that one?
Yes, I have, because ever since I discovered, shall we say, Stifler, I've been keen on watching anything he goes into. Some of the stuff are pants.
Yes,
I will admit that. But
that's
more often than not, he gets on the screen. And it's like, okay, yes, this was worthwhile watching for an hour and a half.
Yes, basically, but that's what I'm saying. This is my out of the movies he's done. This is my favourite, and my second favourite is Welcome to the Jungle, because I think he just plays into those roles. So he does. He just seems to be self-deprecating. Like Welcome to the Jungle, he's got that role where he's so convinced that he's going to find the idol, and he's a really good thing, and then everybody else is actually going, nah, and try to get him, and he's just doing silly stuff to actually get out of trouble, but he just gets him into more trouble and stuff like that. Whereas in this one, it's just hilarious how it starts with him. Even that when he's on his own practicing, he's basically still giving the dummy CPR and talking to him, don't you die on me, and I guess, and they're all actually, when everybody turns up and they're going, you out on a date with your who's the blonde and stuff like that, and just take the mick out of him, and he's going on about his car. Don't do that, you're going to damage my car, it's already been turned over, it's and he's convincing, they're saying, oh no, you don't actually get compensation when we're trying to set your car up to fix it to get it for you. That's not how it works. But it's my car. That is a classic. It makes no difference. Yeah, I mean, so it's just his character in this, because it starts with him, and then you're sitting there thinking, right. So he's going to be part of it. He's going to be one of the guys that fix it, and then you obviously meet Ira and Harry. So you would meet David Duchovny and Orlando Jones. They come in, and right, they're obviously the main stars of the movie, so they're going to be part of it as well. And then it's just a case of the chemistry the two of them have together. Just even silly stuff, which if it was done in a movie now, it would be cringeworthy. But when they did it, it didn't seem cringeworthy because it wasn't done in any particular way. Like, for instance, when he was slagging the cops, he's going, don't mess with the white man, he's got a gun and stuff like that. And he's going, I know my rights and stuff like that. And it's just a case of, you imagine that done today, it would be done less tongue-in-cheek. And they would be, how dare you say that and stuff like that. It would be, the humour would be dragged out of it. Whereas in this, because the
humour is placed correctly.
Yeah, because of the chemistry between the two, they have got a good chemistry, and they've obviously meant to be worked together for years based on the way they're talking and stuff like that. You can just imagine two pals just slagging each other like that, and just, why are you the colonel and I'm the...
that is typical, and I would say it doesn't fly these days. If you and I had been working together for 5 years and we did this stream, you and I would be using some really bad nicknames for each other.
Right. And that's exactly what it is.
But even so, have a check in the private chat, because
I know.
I'll send it across.
If you have to, just say need to go and then pop, and don't worry about that.
Yeah, I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Yeah. So don't freak out about that. But I can't even remember what I was saying. Anyway, the way this movie starts, the meteor lands and it nearly kills Wayne, the Seann William Scott's character, Wayne. Nearly kills him because he's out practicing for a firefighter's exam, which is silly in its own right, but it's funny as well. And it's just a case of, he sets a barn alight and puts a dummy in, and then he sits and counts it, and then he clicks the thing and he bursts in the door. I'm here to help you and all this, and then he drags the dummy out and gives her CPR. And, don't you die on me! And he's giving her the kiss of life. And you're thinking, even the fact that he's practicing, he's actually over practicing with a dummy, and nobody else is there. It's only him timing himself, but he's thrown himself right into it. And then the meteor lands, nearly kills him, destroys his car, and he's the first one to find it. So then then you see Harry and Ira, David Duchovny and Orlando Jones's characters. They turn up. They're the two school teachers, the science teachers, and they're only there because Harry is not works for the coroner, but it's almost like the CDC, and it's only because he signed up by accident because he thought it was a more adult website he was signing up to. It turns out it wasn't, but he just kept it, and he's dragged this other science teacher, Ira, along to help him. And then they see the cops there, and they're all taking pictures next to it, and they just go in, take samples, and leave. And then they go back, and the military's all there. Military's there, blocking them getting in, and it tells you a wee bit of backstory of Ira, which even the backstory, when you hear about it, is hilarious, because now you know why someone who's very knowledgeable of science and has got knowledge of the workings of government science departments is working in a school. And it's because he did some lab tests for a new vaccination for anthrax, and they basically, when he takes the military to court to try and get his samples back because they stole them. They bring this up to discredit him, and basically they were asking what was the side effects of everybody that got the vaccine, and they was telling them there was things like erectile dysfunction, lack of bladder control, and that takes you back to when a soldier hears his name and tries to shoot him, and all his colleagues are dragging him down and holding the gun down so he wouldn't shoot him, but you don't know why. But then you learn it's because of that, because most of the people had a 1 month, let's say things are coming out of every orifice, and they called it the Kane madness because of the effect it had on their body. And obviously people who had it happen to them want to kill him. So they use that to discredit him. And because he's get discredited, he can't get access. So they hatch a plan to break in and get more samples by dressing up as soldiers. And they get caught. But when they're in, Harry gets a bug in his suit, and the bug burrows into
not just in his suit, it goes where the sun doesn't shine.
Well, it burrows into his skin initially, because he just screams, but you're not entirely sure if that's how he get in, but you see it crawling under his skin. And they're saying, we'll need to amputate his leg. And he's going, don't amputate. And they're saying, don't amputate his leg. He thinks he's a sportsman. And then it says, it's turned round, it's heading towards his testicles. And he's shouting, amputate, amputate with a leg. And it's just the way he does it. It's just great. And then they turn around, it's gone the other way. Right, flip him over. And it's one of the best lines in the movie is, we'll have to go in rectally. Do it now. There's no time for lubricant. He says there's always time for lubricant. And then they basically get the bug out. And it's to get the bug out because it can't breathe in an oxygen atmosphere.
Hi, Manly. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, I was on another live stream. We're discussing the film Evolution, which is just a hilarious comedy. Sorry,
Jim, you're actually not muted.
Yeah, the Duchovny is one of the guys. It's absolutely hilarious.
Right, right. So when they get the bug out, Allison, that's Julianne Moore's character, and she's basically got Harry's hand and going, is there anything I can get you? He says, ice cream. And she says, what flavour? He says, it doesn't matter, it's for between my arse cheeks. And it's because he's just had the bug. It's about that size, pulled out with big long tweezers out of him, and even when he's walking, it's hilariously funny. But in the meantime, where this is happening, somebody in a golf course who Wayne's character is serving drinks because the guy's a bit of a jerk and he's having an affair. So he's down by the pond in the golf course. He's got the mat out, the champagne, stuff like that, waiting for the woman to turn up. And as he does that, he goes down to the water, and this thing comes crashing out, and he goes running, and it grabs him and drags him back in. And she goes running in and shouting, "A monster's just eaten him!" And then you see Wayne sort of giving a smile because the guy was a jerk to him, so it's almost that's really terrible. And then he takes the monster to the two scientists, and even though they're not meant to have anything because they lost everything, they've now got a subject, and then they start putting themselves in the location of all these other things that are happening. Even though the military try and get rid of them, they just push themselves in. It's just the way the humour runs. You can understand the way they're doing it. You even get the part where, what was her name? The one that played his girlfriend, Sarah Silverman, is in it, and she's only in it for a couple of minutes, and it's basically to show that Ira is not the best. He's basically petty to an extent because she's his ex and she's dating a police officer, and he's leaning over saying, "Hi, I've met the cop at the thing." So he's got a bit of history. He met the cop, and he's asking him, "Is it against the law if somebody steals 3 of your shirts?" Because when she left, she took 3 of my shirts. So she stands up and starts taking her shirt off. Well, 2 of the students are there, and the 2 of the students are like that because this woman's starting to take her shirt off in front of them, and Harry just turns to him and goes, "Women always do that to him." And it's just, sorry, it's no students, it's Wayne that's sitting with him, and his eyes are going clear, and Harry takes him. Women are always taking their clothes off in front of him, implying that he's a bit of a women's man, but he obviously is not. He's a bit of a jerk as well. So the way the characters interact, you can just imagine that's how it's going. And I do like it for that, because the humour builds up gradually and it gets sillier in places. It gets a bit more serious, then it gets sillier again. And it doesn't take itself too seriously. Throughout the whole thing, there's good interaction between the characters. So you've got Allison, Julianne Moore's character. She plays a scientist, a government scientist, but she's clumsy. You see her walking upstairs and slips, drops all her paperwork, and then she's picking it all up. Then she'll come out of a taxi or a car when she's getting dropped off and slam the door, and it catches her jacket. And then by the time she comes out, she walks into the hotel, and the door's not an automatic door, and she walks straight into it. And it's these silly things she does like that. She'll drop things because she's clumsy. Good point was it didn't go over the top clumsy, like when the two of them kiss at the end. It was a case of the two of them bang their head, like they do in some movies where the woman's clumsy, even doing silly something like that. It's a case of she's clumsy at everything, but it wasn't. And there's even the relationship between Ira and Harry when they don't think anybody's listening, and they're talking about Allison. She's really into you. She's going to do it. She's really into you. You can tell because she's arguing with you. And she's not. She's giving it so I'm a nice queen. I'm the bitch and stuff like that. So she heard them and she brings it up, and then she turns around to him at one point and says, "I would have rocked your world anyway." You can just imagine this actually happening. Although it's done in a silly way, you can just imagine the relationship between all the characters, the way they interact. You can imagine it being how people would react in certain situations. And that's why I think this movie's so good. Humour aside, I think the character interaction throughout it, even Dan Aykroyd as the politician, and he plays a bit of a hard-nosed politician. "What are you doing in my state? Why are you not telling me this? Why are you the last to know?" And then he's calling Ted Levine's General Woodman's character Sergeant, get me a coffee. He says it's general. He says depends how well this goes. So he's not playing it really for laughs, but he's playing a hard-nosed politician. But it's still fun because of the interactions between the other characters. Because he just wants to make sure it doesn't disrupt his political ambitions. And when he finds out that they could do a lot of damage, he basically turns to the general and says, get them out of my state because we need to stop them, because there was the implication that if they didn't stop them, within a day, it would overrun the city he's done. Within a week, it would be the whole state. And then within a month, it would be the whole of America. And then after that, it just spreads out and it would be the human race. And and then they get attacked by humanoid type aliens, which have evolved very quickly. And then at that point, he says, nuke them and burn them all out. So the military sort of give it the ho, we've been given the okay. So they set up explosions around them. But by accident, Harry is having a cigarette. I say, why did you start smoking? He says, it's not as if I'm going to have a long, healthy life, because obviously they're talking about these aliens spreading, and they don't know what's going to happen with the flames, because they've never tested it. But Harry's having a cigarette and he throws the lighter in the match, and the match lands in a petri dish with just some gel that's never been activated, and the flames just make it grow exponentially. And they're saying they're going to do it with napalm. They better stop, because so he works it out, because we're carbon based and arsenic can kill us, so it's coming down and across. So that's a poison to us. If they're nitrogen based, they go down, and it's celium, which is the thing that can kill them. Which one of the products that the two dumb students say, we can get you plenty of that. Says, how can you get it? Says, Head and Shoulders. And says, how do you know that? Says, does this hair not? You never wondered why it's so shiny and soft and dandruff free? And it's an advert for Head and Shoulders. But sometimes I wonder if Head and Shoulders actually paid for this, or they went to Head and Shoulders, says, we want to use you in the movie, and they said no problem, because there's certain things that they do with Head and Shoulders, you're sitting there thinking, are they happy for their product to be seen getting done that way? So they fill up the fire truck with loads and loads of bottles of shampoo, Head and Shoulders shampoo, and then they tend to go into the cavern and spray it all over. And because of the fast metabolism, it should kill all the things in the cavern. But at that point, the military set off the napalm, which makes everything grow. But the thing it overtakes everything and destroys everything is a single cell organism. So it destroys all the higher forms of life within the cavern and just absolutely crushes it. Yeah. Well, the preparation H joke would have actually even been better after when Harry got the bug taken out. I think they could have actually used that one there. But yes, very well done. And that's why I think they might have actually approached Head and Shoulders rather than Head and Shoulders asking to be the one. See, I basically paid for the advert, because they would have had to actually, if Head and Shoulders came to them, then they would have had to write the script about so it worked with theirs, because they would have to have an ingredient in it that made it viable. Whereas they've obviously had the script and they've been looking for products that have that. And instead of making one up, they used a very well known brand. Even in the UK, Head and Shoulders, very well known brand.
Yeah, apologies for the earlier break there. I didn't realize I was actually sending to multiple channels.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. It's just if it has, just hit your mute and I'll see the mic pop up and I'll know you have to pop away for work. Didn't worry about it. But I'm just at the part where the military set off the explosion, which causes the single cell organism, and then it starts.
This is what I love about films like this we got from this era. Is the military is just steamrolling in. They have
Yeah.
no clue what they're dealing with. And this actually stretches back to war games.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking Matthew Broderick's
Would you like to
war
play
game.
another game?
Would you like to play a game? It's just super. But the military comes in and it's like, yes, we're a hammer. We're seeing a nail. We will smack it. We don't care what happens.
No, they're saying we're a hammer and we see something that looks like a nail, so we're going to smash it.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I wanted to kind of share on this. But I love, because in evolution, this works. This works to bring the story so much forward.
Yeah,
because Duchovny and the gang, the Scooby Gang, I would actually say, to steal it from the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the Scooby Gang understands that, hang on, we know more than you do, and all you want to do is just Hulk smash. And they know that this is not going to solve the problem.
Yeah. It's the same as one of the books I'm reading is Drew Hayes one. It's the NPC movie books. And I'm on the second book, and it's called Split the Party. And
yeah, I still need to get into them, and I do thank you for the Bobbyverse one, because I loved it through and through.
Yeah, definitely. I love it about the Von Neumann programs and stuff like that. It's a very, very smart book series, and it's done very well. I do enjoy the Bobbyverse, and once I've caught up with the Bulgarian, I will go back to the Bobbyverse. I do like the books that I like, and I just keep listening to them again and again because I'm driving a lot, so they're always on in my car. But in the Split the Party, there's a bit where demons. No, it's no Split the Party. It's NPC, the first book. These demons keep popping up, and when the other parties are trying to fight them, they're firing fireball spells and they're shouting, "Don't hit them with fire," because they come from a realm with fire. So it's basically a case of fire kill, because I can do fire, aye, but they're immune to fire. What's the point? So use something else. And yes, it's like this. It's like a lot of the military. It's a case of burn them down, use napalm, use explosions, use this, use that. Go with the nuclear option without testing to see what would happen first. And that's the way it works within this one. The military just don't even test. They don't even take the phone call when when Allison phones and says, "I have got news. What you're doing is going to cause problems." He says, "I'm not in," as in I don't want to hear from her. So he just didn't even test anything, didn't even check, didn't get one of his scientists to say, "Take a wee sample and see what would happen if you burnt it." A simple test to see if it would work, and he didn't, because he's convinced that napalm will burn it all, and they'll just be around the edges with their machine guns and just blow everything out the air. Yet you know fine well there's wee bugs. How are they going to know if any of the wee bugs get out? So it's typical military thinking of the TV time, as it were, because in real life they would probably be sitting there thinking, we better test because we can't guarantee, because we know there's bugs, there's wee flying insects. So how could they actually guarantee getting everything when these wee flying insects are there? Because you imagine trying to actually shoot at a bunch of insects that are flying past you. How's that going to work? But in effect, it's typical military thinking. We'll burn it all out, we'll be around the edges and pick off all the survivors, as if they would be able to see all the survivors, because they're bugs and insects, some of them. There's not all of them are the big creatures, and that's the point of it. However, Allison and Ira work out how to kill them, and it's the cilium inside the Head and Shoulders. So they fill the tanker, the fire station up, the fire truck up with Head and Shoulders. You see them all piling it in and pouring it in. And then they go driving towards this single cell organism, and it's about to split due to mitosis, and they're saying, oh God, it's all starting again. So it's going to go from single cell organism, it's going to split, it's going to spread out, and it's just going to get more and more. So they have to work out how to get this Head and Shoulders into the creature, because they can no longer just spray it on the creature and hope it works. They need to get it inside so it can metabolize it. And as they drive underneath it, after it kills a load of troops with just splatting them, they drive underneath it and they see a butthole. And they go, right. And basically, Ira's about to climb up, and Harry goes, I've got a score to settle here because of the bug. So he goes up with a pipe and he sticks it up and he opens it up, and then he gets sucked up. So it does. He gets sucked up into the butthole, and Ira's got him and pulling him down. And he says, "Don't you tell anybody where I've been. I saw horrible stuff up there." And it was just it's just the way they did it. You're sitting there thinking, it's a crass joke. He get dragged into a butthole of a monster, but Harry's character is so well developed that you can imagine him. It's a case of, I don't want people to know this. It's not a case, and he knows fine well that Ira would tell people because friends would slag each other. But he's effectively saying, don't you tell anybody what happened to me. I don't want anybody. But anyway, they destroy the creature. And we're going to have a quick, this is obviously going to be a very quick one because I'm flying through it very quickly this tonight, Jim. I'm already...
I know we're flying through this one quickly, and I do apologize that unfortunately work is running over.
Don't you worry. Work. That's what pays the bills. This is just a hobby.
And I definitely agree. It's work.
Yeah, because I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning, so I'm actually flagging as well. Anyway,
I've been up since 1 o'clock this morning, but at literally, what was it, 4:30, I just got dragged into 3 different very critical calls. You have to pay attention. We need to fix this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Luckily, I'm not as busy as that now. That used to be my life a while back. I used to basically I could be sitting in on a hotel in Lanzarote, and the phone goes, and I'm on the call trying to actually get it fixed. So I'm on holiday. So I never used to have a holiday. So when the phone went, it didn't matter where I was. I even got one when I was in hospital, sitting in the hospital bed, answering and fixing something. And
I'm kind of the same because I also work in IT. If I have a laptop and internet connection, I can watch the films we want to discuss. I can connect to the live stream and everything. It is just that thing of hearing 3 different channels because I'm on this call and I have 2 other calls going on in the background. I have 3 people talking into my ear at this very moment.
Yeah,
but I'm still trying to give this film what it deserves because it's very hilarious. It has some really quality actors. We have X-Files. We have Julianne Moore. We have Shawn Michael, whatever his name is.
Seann William Scott.
Seann William Scott, which I absolutely love in both American Pie. Don't get me wrong. He's getting the short end of the straw in American Pie. But when he was allowed to actually be the character to try and carry something like Goon or Goon Return of the Enforcers, he's carrying something that's meant to be light and funny.
Yeah. And he
But
had
when you look at it, it is
Welcome to the Jungle.
actually, yeah, welcome to that's another one. He's able to do that, but he's always being, what is it, boxed in. He's Stifler from American Pie. He has nothing to give. He's that one-off character. But if you look at Stifler in terms of character, apparently there's like 45 American Pie films or something. He's in the main 7 ones that spawned the rest of the spin-offs or everything.
Yeah.
And he quickly becomes the legend, not because what happened in the first one, but he's quickly becoming the legend that, yeah, he managed to do things.
Yeah. And it was basically people, it was always one of our friends, we used to call him Stifler.
Oh, dear.
Yes. Uh-huh. And it was the same idea. It's just basically as a similar character to that character. And it wasn't as bad, obviously, because Stifler was a over-the-top type of character. But there was enough wee bits in there that you could see the type of character, his type of character, so he was called Stifler. So, but that's the type of thing it's a good character is there for, because you can, even if it's a background character or a side character, if it's a good character, you pick it. It's the same as like Buffy. The main character in that was Sarah Michelle Gellar. And then
Yeah, Buffy.
you had the Scooby Gang. And when people say things like, you were a Xander, you knew what it meant. He was the friend zone, because Xander was although he was a side character, he was in a lot of the episodes. Don't get me wrong, it's not as if he was only in 1 or 2 here and there, but he wasn't the main character in the show. He was just one of the Scooby Gang. It's the same as Willow wasn't the main character in the show. Same idea. She was in all of them, Allison, so she was. And it's that type of thing. So you got Stifler. It's not the main character in the movies, but he's still well known enough that you can say the character's name and people know who he is.
To be honest, Stifler is the most memorable one for me from American Pie. Yeah, he got the short end of the straw, but he is the most memorable one. And he got it left, right, and center. I mean, the biggest geek in the high school screwed his mom. There was probably, I think I even recall, there's like a popular band that made a song or something that made the top 10 charts or whatever it was in the United States. Stifler's mom.
It's music. I think they did.
But it's music, but he made the top 10. Stifler's mom or something like that.
It would have made #1 in UK and the US, and I still wouldn't have known about it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that that is out there. That is how influential his character was from the first film alone.
But that's what I'm saying. All the characters in this, because you look at Ethan Suplee, he was Errol's brother. My name is Errol.
Yeah, My Name is Earl is fantastic. But have you looked up Ethan Suplee today?
No, I've not seen
it. Just Google Ethan Suplee. Go to his Instagram account. The guy has gone from the oversized, overweight, definitely obese kind of guy, and he is larger today than Arnold Schwarzenegger ever was. He spent the last 15 years in the gym, pumping weights, doing everything. He's huge, and he looks awesome.
Yeah, I've not seen any of that, so let's have a look. See,
I would definitely recommend that you look into that. Apologies, I have to jump to the other audio channel. I will try to not share whatever I say on this channel.
Yeah,
but I can still hear you.
Yeah, no
but
problem.
I will also hear 10 other people.
Yeah, I will actually be finishing off shortly. Don't worry, because that no way that's the same guy. This is him here.
Yeah, that's Ethan Suplee. My name is Earl. All of that. He was, she would say, huge and blobby.
See, I remember him like that, but
no. That is him being buffed up now. If you go, my name is Earl, Ethan Suplee. He is literally a circle. He's not even just round. He's not even fat. He's just a circle.
Well, you see him in this movie, what he was like, but that's what I'm saying. That's what he's like now. There's no A in there because that was the character you see him in there. That was in My Name is Earl.
Yeah,
that's him there. Yeah,
exactly.
And then this one, he was bigger again than that.
But that one you showed from My Name is Earl, that is when he was small. If you go, the first 20 millions is always the hardest. He's huge. He's absolutely overweight in that one. I don't know what it made him go into weightlifting or body training or exercise.
It could be anything. It could have been his doctors advised it because he's overweight. It could have been just a case of he got fed up and just decided to, or else he got the bug and just decided that he enjoyed doing exercises. You know what it's like. It could be multiple reasons. It could have been anything.
Yeah, it could have been. But I'm jumping to the other channel, and if you're rounding off this stream, don't worry.
No problem, because I'm just actually getting to the point anyway. Anyway, they finish this once they stick the Head and Shoulders up, and the monster explodes. Everybody's covered with it, and they all get a big clap, and they all get a reward. So the two students who got a C at the beginning get an A because they were the ones that actually knew all about where to get the chemical to defeat the monster. So they were happy. Wayne got his reward by being given a full-time role in the fire service, and then you had Ira, he got a congratulations and stuff like that, and he basically just goes up forward, takes his thanks, congratulations, and fine with it. And then it goes to Ira and Allison, and the two of them have disappeared, and that's how it finishes. It finishes the movie there, but it finishes it, I think, better shown than telling. This is how it finishes.
I think he's giving her a bit of the Kane madness.
Wow. Fighting the alien menace can be tough work.
And so is keeping your hair clean, shiny, and dandruff-free.
So it's a good thing that we always keep a healthy supply of
Head and Shoulders around the house.
So that's how the movie finished, and it's basically they do a wee advert, and that's why I don't think Head and Shoulders basically paid to get their name in there. I think they went to Head and Shoulders, and because they used Head and Shoulders' name, they didn't want to be sued. They put an advert at the end, and I think it was to say to Head and Shoulders, we obviously were just taking the mickey, and we needed a product, and we thought we'd use yours. And here's an advert that they probably could run. I thought it was done very well. This movie, I think, is a definite, for me, it's a definite 10. It's something I watch every couple of months. It is just so much fun. Between Wayne singing to try and attract the attention of the flying lizard who's picked up the girl who was in the changing room shoplifting. And when she gets saved, she says, "I'll never shoplift again." It's And they just go, It's basically she's just sitting there crying because she nearly got eaten, but it's nothing to do with the shot. But she's in her head, she's just going there. But he basically, Wayne sings over the loudspeaker just to attract it, and they're all going to stop doing that. You're embarrassing us. And then they hear the thing in the back, so they say, "Sing more, put a bit of jazz in it." So he gets to sing in it. There's silly jokes in this. There is some good animation in it, considering the time. And as you saw in that wee video clip there, you saw the dragon. Well, I say dragon, it looks like a dragon, but it's obviously meant to be a flying lizard. But potato makes no difference. So I would give this movie a 10 because I really think it's just one of those movies you can watch over and over again. You know what's coming up, but it's just so much fun to watch it come across and it unfold in front of you. It is definitely a movie I would recommend. What is my favourite part of it? I think it's definitely the part with the bug, where poor Harry is the bug's under his skin and they go in rectally to try and get it with a pair of tweezers. And it's just the point where he says, "Quick, there's no time for lubrication." And he shouts, "There's always time for lubrication." And it's just that whole scene is hilarious. And if you get a chance, get a hold of Evolution and watch it. It's definitely worth. So it is. So I know it's just a short stream tonight, and Jim's busy. He's got had a lot of work on, so he's basically popping in and out just so I'm not on my Todd tonight. So thank you everybody for joining us. Jacob, Roman, Kelly, thank you for being in the chat. Everybody who's watching, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually just one shy of 400. My subs have been, in 2 weeks, they've doubled. And so I'm very happy. And thank you, Dan, for popping in. And you'll not see us at the weekend, Kelly. Sorry. Remember, this Saturday, I am not streaming. I'm away for a break. Me and my wife are going up to Aberdeen. We're going to see some friends. So the next week we'll be here. Will be next Wednesday, and we will be looking at the British comedy Chelmsford 1, 2, 3. It's about the Romans in Britain, and you've got the Romans killing Britons, the Britons killing Romans, all over the place. There is a couple of clips I've got on my channel, and I'll dig one out just so you get a chance to see one of the best bits. Right. I'm just trying to find one because there is a few clips and they're all active. Right, I'll give you one. It has to be one. Yeah, this one here. I'll just dig it across. Hold on. This gives you a quick look at Chelmsford 1, 2, 3 for next week.
I'm just dreading how am I supposed to find the time to actually watch it, because I've seen your clips you've shared on your channel.
Yes.
And they're like 60 seconds long. It's been always like this. Give me a giggle.
Yes, this is a 2-minute clip, and it basically shows you the type of humour in Chelmsford 1, 2, 3 between the Romans, the Britons, and just the humour in general. So here you go. This is for next week. This is next Wednesday's show.
Let the execution commence. Lead the prisoner to the block. The executioner will put on the ceremonial death cap.
Supposed to put it on my head, you prat. I'm nervous, you see. This is my first decapitation. Mine too, funnily enough. Very good. Good old fashionable joking to the very end. Shut up and chop me head off, you fat git. No, wait. I want to say something. People of Britain, as I stand here today on the shores of life, gaze over the inky sea of death, I look back at my life and ask, Was it worth it? Or was it a waste? I don't know. But what I do know is this, that I want every Briton present here today to make damn sure that my death is not a waste. I want my death to be a birth of fierce anti-Roman feeling, a birth of renewed Celtic pride, a birth of war, of revolt, of rebellion against these odious oppressors who have trampled on us and raped our land, our history and our culture. Today I die. But I die so that others may live. Marvellous speech. Total bollocks. But very moving.
That programme was shown as a tribute to Rory McGrath, who died earlier this year in an accident while filming this series. In next week's episode, the part of Badvock will be played by Bonnie Langford. Howard Lewis is currently facing charges of manslaughter. So, for the rest of the series, the part of Blag will be played by Elizabeth Taylor.
So that's
such a brilliant combination of all the humor and the history as well.
Yeah, it basically is. There is a couple of wee clips in there. It's 2 seasons. We know we're not going to get through 2 seasons. I'm not silly enough to know, but I'm going to watch 2 seasons. But we're just going to talk about the first season and even just the first couple of episodes. Just it's to get people the hint of Chelmsford 1, 2, 3. The 2 seasons I've watched multiple times, and there's also my review on the channel. And this in the playlist, you've got all the clips and my review, because this has been one. I remember seeing this initially, and as soon as I got a chance, I bought the DVD. It's one of the oldest DVDs I've had. It's basically one of the first DVDs I bought because I just love it. It's one of my favourites. Rory McGrath and Jimmy Melville are just superb. They wrote it. The guy who played Gracientis, the weedy Gracientis, he wrote the music for it. It's just
that's actually really cool.
Yeah, he did. He wrote the music for it. It's a season and a half, or 2 seasons are just absolutely perfect. And even the bit when the Romans come to Britain, it starts off, they're all speaking Latin. And they basically say, oh, we better start speaking British because we're going to live there and take over. So that's why they flip to British. But there's still some Roman, some Latin words in, because there's certain things, like there's one episode where a female tribe are attacking the Roman villa, and while all the troops are away. And Jimmy Melville's character, Aulus Perennis, basically try to calm them down by giving them a big speech, and one of the women shouts through there, "Show us your willy!" And he says to Granty, "They want to see a willy, go and find a willy," and he comes out with a jumper. He says, "Here's your willy." And then the other guy turns around and says, "No, it's your tecla," and it basically gives him the Latin word, and he goes, "Really? They want to see that?" And it's just that type of humour. It's just so well done for the age, and there's a lot of laugh out loud moments within the whole 2 seasons. But we're only going to cover 1 season, and we might not even cover the whole season. We might just cover the first couple of episodes, so it gives everybody a chance. And it's only like 25-minute episodes, so it's not as if they need to watch an hour or 2 hour movie for next week. Just a couple of episodes just to get the idea of the program, and that's all we're going to really look at. It's just a general talk about Chelmsford 1, 2, 3. And I am aware Roman of the Empire is a British TV show, so you might have trouble getting hold of it. If I can find a copy, it might be on YouTube. I don't know if the full episodes are on YouTube.
Roman is essentially competing with me as being the barbarian of culture. Since I'm a Viking, I'm a barbarian, but he's also a barbarian in terms of British culture.
Yes, he's a barbarian, but considering it's about Romans against the Britons, then we have to have us Britons against Roman of the Empire.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that once United States back in the 1700s, they're just like, no, screw you, we're throwing the tea into the water and we'll just shoot bullets at you until you just get off our land. Since then, they have never taught in schools anything about British actual history.
Kelly will be able to tell you, as Roman could be able to tell you, we are Scooby-Doo in the gang.
Oh, definitely.
We are Britain's Scooby-Doo in the gang, because the Britons, the Americans keep on going to the Britons. Get off our lawn! Get off! If I
will add that before you move on. I find that get off our lawn, that is a very British attitude. Only the Americans were the only country on the planet that managed to execute it properly. It's like, get off our lawn. It's like, we don't care about your King George, whatever. Get off our lawn. Your tea is in the water. You can drink the river if you want to.
Yeah,
get out.
But they had to keep our language, even though they bastardized it. But it's basically, as I said, they would have got away with it too if it wasn't for us damn kids. So, anyway, it's Romans v Britain next week, next Wednesday. There's nothing on Saturday. I do apologise. I've got a wee break away. So
nothing this Saturday, is it?
Yeah, they actually did learn British history, at least back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, I still think you probably failed it, since you couldn't even spell history correctly, the Roman, but that's just a cheeky punch.
He could spell history, he just couldn't spell words like colour properly. Or aluminium. They call it aluminium, we call it aluminium, because that's what it is.
Aluminium, yes, that's just how you're supposed, but they go... They're missing a couple of vowels or whatever it is.
Yeah, so, but anyway.
So the Americans will never, from Star Trek, was it Star Trek 4, where Scott is showing a manufacturing company how to do transparent aluminium. He actually has to sell aluminum, not aluminium.
Yeah, because he's Canadian.
Yeah.
Aye, so
which is British still.
It's still British, but he's a Canadian, so he's basically, they get, their languages are closer, eh?
Yeah, it is, eh?
Yeah. They basically, Romans just said there's no got a spell check anyway, so, and they're Americans, they'll spell it how they like. Colour me surprised. Anyway, we will finish there, and I do apologise, it's a short stream. Jim busy, I'm knackered, so we're going to have it finished there. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining us for tonight's Evolution. It's one of my favourites. Definitely have to give it a go. So,
I also love Evolution. It's just so funny from start to finish.
Yeah, it definitely is. Give it a go. So from me and Jim, thank you for joining us. And remember, I'm not old, I'm classic. PJ maybe, and Jim,